Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're doing another installment in the Luxury Will I Buy It series. This is where we discuss new and upcoming releases and decide what's worth spending our hard-earned money on. But on my channel, we add a little French twist. So for collections we do want, we say oui. And for collections we don't want, we say non merci. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. Thank you for joining me today at the mall to get our steps in. But I think today our walk today might be a bit brief because I have a handful of new collections that I want to talk to you about. And then next week, we're going to talk about holiday releases because we're going to creep into October soon. And apparently all of the holiday releases have been out since July. These brands like to be several months ahead of time. So next week we will be strictly talking about luxury holiday releases. And while we're at it, happy St. Patrick's Day. So today, let's just dive in because even though we have only a few handful of releases to talk about today, some of them are doozies. And the first one here, listen, I saw this and I was sitting down thankfully, but I was like, wow, wild. Okay, this is from Amid Beauty Talk. All of the blogs are listed down below. We have here the first promo photos of new eyeshadow palettes from Hermes Beauty. Hermes, they started off with lipsticks, they did nail polish, they've done blushes, bronzers, they've done a couple face makeup brushes, and now Hermes is going into eyeshadow. So these are eyeshadow quads, and there are 6 of them. Apparently, the sale will start around October 25th, so in a month from now in Japan, and in Europe and USA later in life. That probably means Canada as well. Fingers crossed. So let's just take a moment to look at this, process, absorb. So there's no prices listed here. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be super expensive, like stupid expensive. Close to 200. I'm guessing well over 100 Canadian. I would guess well over 100 Canadian because the bronzers were over 100, I think. It's gonna be expensive. I would guess maybe like 140, 150 Canadian. Yeah. I'm guessing. I don't have any information about the product size. Is it like this big of a palette? Is it this big of a palette? I don't have any weight, grams, anything like that. I just have this. And apparently when you buy this, you get a little mini brush. Thanks. And these are the 6 original flavor eyeshadows with this release here. So let's start from the top, the blue. If you don't know anything about me, I love blue eyeshadow. And this one here looks really nice because as much as I love blue eyeshadow, I am still very picky because sometimes they make a blue eyeshadow palette and I just hate the accompanying tones and it just doesn't work for me. But this looks really pretty. I love that it looks like there's a matte or just like a soft, cool-ish brown. It's not warm. It's not like orange or blue. It's a nice, cool-ish taupey brown, and that shimmer color on the side looks a little bit cool toned, a little bit champagne-y cool. Then you get what looks like to be a dark navy matte just to intensify the look, and then that blue, that looks so pretty. It looks satiny, it looks bright. Sometimes blue can be really dark and sort of make your eye look really dark, but this looks really bright and gorgeous. Love that one. So that one personally is calling my name, but let's move on to the others. There's the second one here. The lightest matte color looks lighter. It looks like a nice neutral leaning light beige, and then the light champagne color looks pretty. There's an orange. It might be more of like a peachy color, and then more of a dark brown that looks like it has a hint of purple in it. Just from the promo photo, who knows? But that one looks really pretty. That one looks like it's going to be like the everyday workhorse, basic in a good way. That one I think is going to be the most popular. I think that one's going to sell out the fastest. It just has really workable everyday colors. blue is not for everyone. Now, moving on to the green. This looks really pretty. I'm really intrigued with the hues in here because it looks like the square shades almost give me, the light one gives me a mossy color, and then the opposite one gives me like a super dark teal, and then you get this like fluo, like fluorescent green with a light champagne that looks a bit yellow. That one I would need to swatch in person. Like that one's not for me. As much as I love blue, green, like bold, unsure. No, je suis pas sûre. So I think that one's a no. But then moving on, we have like what looks like a little bit of pink and purple. You have to squint a little bit, but that super light square shade next to the light shimmer shade, and then that pink looks pretty. And then that I think is going to be a super dark purple with a bit of brown. And it's going to be really pretty. I think it's going to be really pretty. Then in the center, it looks like that's going to be possibly like their smoky eye quad. It looks like it's mostly matte. It looks like there's just that one silver color. That's the satin shimmer color. And the two square mattes and then the round one all look like they're earthy, a little dark, really pretty. And then the last one here, that one also looks really pretty. That one reminds me of Honeymoon from Tom Ford. The top center one that has like the neutral with the peach, that one reminds me of Chanel's Tissé Vendôme. That's what it looks like. And then the last one here, that looks like Tom Ford Honeymoon to me. Just the gold, like the two light colors, like the gold, and then the cool tone champagne, and then the dark matte plum, and then a dark matte brown. Very pretty. I think that one would be very popular as well. Just more intense, bit of a heavier eye look. Now, what do you think of this when you open up the compact and you see squares and circles? Are you like, I could see some people words. I could see for some people it would be jarring just to not have synchronicity, just to have different shapes. I don't know if I don't mind it actually, especially if I get the blue palette, because the blue palette has matte squares and then shimmer satin. I think that connects with my brain. I think if it's disconnected where there's one shape and one finish, that one throws me off a bit. So let me know what you think about that, because for some people, I think it's like giving them a little bit of an ick. Something isn't quite jiving, and I get that. Now we are also going to see mascaras. And there's going to be 6 shades of mascara. So there's going to be the volumizing mascara in 6 colors. Makes sense. It looks like we're going to have a black, a brown, sort of maroonish, purple, dark green, dark blue. So they're just covering all the bases. The wand looks really thin. I'm not sure about that. I love like a mascara that gives me like fake lash effect. I'm guessing it's going to be super expensive. I'm guessing $80 or $90 for the mascara. Like, just based off of just past Hermes beauty purchases, I'm guessing that's what it's going to be. And then we also have some eyeshadow brushes. It makes sense that they would come out with eyeshadow brushes. With eyeshadow, we saw them come out with some face brushes with the blushes that they launched. This is the Travel Kabuki brush from Hermes for the blush. I love it. It's a great little shape. It's really wonderful. It's super expensive, but I like it, and it's super soft. So yeah, new releases coming from Hermes very, very shortly. The eyeshadow brushes, it looks like there's one that's for like eyeliner, like very tapered, very dense, one for blending, and one for applying eyeshadow. They didn't, reinvent the wheel here, but it looks very promising. I'm sure that once these land, a lot of people, myself possibly included, will collectively lose their minds and buy multiple. I'm not buying multiples. I'm buying one, if that. I'm going to see what the price is, because as much as I think this is pretty, I'm not about that life. And even though it looks like I buy everything that I see, I do not. I, in fact, have a budget that I stick to, and yeah, we'll see. I like it. It's a oui for me, but like practically we'll see. It's a peut-être, we'll see. Okay, moving on to Beauty Vel here. They have continuing with Hermes, but switching over to Beautyvel. They have the Hermes Rouge Hermes Autumn Winter 2023 collection here, and this is a very concise release here, but these are sheer. So we have these 3 lipsticks here, and if you look at them, they look super autumnal. Gives me like 90s fall, slightly goth, like it gives me, what was that movie, The Craft, like that sort of spooky, witchy 90s vibe. That's what they look like here. Super pretty, but these are in fact very sheer. It doesn't look like it here, but it's a promo photo. But if you look at the model, it's a very sheer wash of color. It's not super intense or saturated. I think that the packaging looks pretty. I haven't seen that much of that sort of like ombre faded effect in the tubes. Usually it's like a very solid like color blocking, but some of them, like the one with the orange and purple tube, almost looks like it could be a sunset, you know, like the colors sort of bleeding into each other. So I think the tubes are interesting, but personally, I have just like 1 or 2 Hermes lipsticks. I'm very happy with them, but I think I went with the matte ones or the satin because I just wanted bang for my buck. I wanted it to be super long lasting and long wearing and just be intense and saturated. So, I mean, I've tried a sample of the Hermes like lip balm, like it's like this stick that's a balm. It's really nice, but it's really pricey for what it is. I think that these lipsticks for me personally are non merci, but they look super pretty. I think that they look nice, and for some people it's definitely going to be a huge oui. Now, we're moving on to Dior, and they have a new release here. This is the Dior Blooming Boudoir collection. This came out recently, and this is clearly heavily inspired by Miss Dior. I love Miss Dior. It's one of my favorite perfumes. The version from 2009, 2010 was my first perfume that I purchased for myself, and I loved it so much. So this is heavily inspired by Miss Dior here, and everything here looks super cutesy, super feminine, and just really, you know, it's very easy on the eyes. We have a lot of makeup available here. So the first thing that I'm seeing is that this reminds me of the Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet. Was it Blooming Bouquet or there was something that came out last year. I think I have some of the lipsticks here. Yeah, I bought it last year. There was a beautiful pop-up stand, and it looks very similar to this, but just like a little bit different. So if you need a new excuse to buy something for yourself, there you go. It just looks so pretty. Everything looks wonderful. We have bath and body as well. But let's go to the makeup here. So we have this huge 10 color palette, the Blooming Boudoir eyeshadow palette limited edition. So it's eyeshadow, but it sort of looks like cheek as well. To me, something about this looks very spring-like. I don't know if it's the floral pattern, if it's the colors, but it looks a bit springtime to me. Listen, if this is for you, if this is your aesthetic, if this is calling your name, baby, it's your money. Enjoy yourself, spoil yourself. The compact case does look super pretty, looks incredibly gorgeous, and again, just like the whole everything here, I think just looks 10 out of 10. It's so pretty. I don't think that this 10 shadow palette is for me. I'm not a huge fan of giant eyeshadow palettes, and these shades in particular are not calling me. But I could see if someone purchased this just for the packaging, I would not judge them. Then we have this limited edition Dior Addict lipstick case. So it's the same case as this one here. What was this one? The Dior Addict Mille Fiori. That's what this one was, the Mille Fiori, the 1,000 flowers. So if you have one of these Dior Addict lipsticks, you can just buy a new case and be super fresh. The Blooming Boudoir looks paler. This one looks almost like beige with lots of pretty flowers, but the new one looks whiter and crisper and has more color to it. Somehow it's even more colorful. It looks super pretty. I don't know what else to say. There's also this here, which we saw last year as well. It's the Forever Cushion Powder. And this one here was confusing for a lot of people because it's in the shade called Lavender, and it's sort of iridescent. So it's not a face powder. I mean, you could use it, but it almost looks like body highlighter, and it's sort of like a loose powder. I didn't buy it because I didn't know what to make of it, but it's super pretty. I can see why some people enjoy it. I think it is harder to use as like face highlighter because it's, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's described as a lush floral pattern with a Baroque aesthetic, but it's a loose powder and it's in a lavender shade. And you can see up close in the photo that it is iridescent and a bit sparkly. But like this, we saw last year, it was super pretty. I'm happy to see it again. And then what else is there? There's also items for bath and body. There's the candle. I bought the Millefiori candle last year. It smells like Miss Dior. And then at the end you get a beautiful little candle holder. So this is what I bought last year. I'm putting my lip glosses in use here in storage. So, you know, a good investment? Absolutely not. But it was pretty, it smelled amazing. And now I have a very extra lip gloss holder. So I'm very happy with my purchase here. And then there's other bath and body products from Miss Dior, but the packaging itself is not changed. I think if you buy something, they may wrap it up in this new blooming boudoir collection here. But yeah, listen, super pretty. If you can get to a store and see like the whole display, I'm sure you'll be very happy. It'll be a feast for the eyes. I feel like it's a oui for me. Like I think it's a good execution, but I know I won't be buying it. I bought the collection last year. I'm very happy with it, but I don't need to buy it every year. Okay, we also have this one here that I want to mention. This is a new blush from the brand. It's 290 Signature Shimmer. We saw it post sort of bubble here and there a while ago. I haven't really seen it anywhere else. And if you look at the swatch here, it looks like the compact looks like it's going to be bubblegum, maybe with a bit of lavender, but then the swatch looks very sheer and very shimmery. So I think it looks very pretty in the palette, but it's a huge no merci for me. It's just not a product for me. But I do think that this looks pretty. I like the embossing. It looks like fabric that's been draped. I love that level of extraness, but it's a no merci for me. Moving on to the Tom Ford Cafe Rose collection. I smelled this in store, Cafe Rose. It smells so good. Like Tom Ford perfumes, man, it's kind of stupid how good his perfumes are. Like they smell so good. They're very strong, but they just, they smell amazing. And so here we have a Cafe Rose lipstick collection. There's going to be 3 shades. There's going to be a Cafe Rose cream blush and a cushion foundation. Now I'm really excited about the cream blush because I don't think we've seen cream blushes from Tom Ford before. We've seen their powder blushes, which I have one I like, but I'm not like, I don't know, head over heels with. But I'm looking forward to seeing the texture of the cream blushes because something about a cream blush is very natural. It sort of just melts into the skin. It looks very youthful, very dewy. It just looks really pretty, and I just love the aesthetic of this whole campaign here. I think it looks really pretty. So it's probably peut-être for me. I want to see what the cream blush will actually look like. Is it going to be just one color? Is it going to be a color that works for me? But I think it's a oui in execution. I think that this looks nice. Yeah, time will tell. And then last but not least, here is something that I've mentioned before, and we're just going to mention one last time here. And this again is on the Beauty Vel blog, and this is the Les Symboles de Chanel. These are the highlighter series. We talked about this a few months ago. It sort of went radio silent. I did a whole video on this a couple days ago, so go ahead and watch that. But apparently these highlighters are currently available in Australia. So basically if you're in like the southern hemisphere, in Australia and like in Japan and Singapore, so if you're southern and then like on the east, you can actually get these in stores, at boutiques, even at the airport. Someone told me. I heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, it's a rumor guys, that these are not coming to the US. I have no idea. Like I personally haven't heard or seen anything about these in Canada. And I'm wondering if Chanel is starting to do the thing where they release certain items only in certain countries, because a couple years ago for Les Beige, they released these jumbo oversized Les Beige highlighters, and they're super pretty. but they only released them in like Canada and the UK. They were not available worldwide, and I thought that they would be released eventually in the US, and they never did. They never came. So I'm wondering if Chanel is starting to, you know, be more exclusive with their beauty releases and not releasing certain items worldwide. Possibly. That's what my makeup spider sense is telling me here. So that's that. And that's it. That's today's video. That is the end of today's Will I Buy It? Oui? Non Merci. So yeah, we have some heavy hitters, a lot of new stuff coming down the pipeline very soon, and I'm excited to do a Will I Buy It on holiday releases because there's been so much out for so long, but I've hesitated on talking about holiday releases because it's so early, guys. God damn. Why do they talk about these collections so early? I don't know. Anyway, that is it for today. Make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you want to spend your money on, what you're not spending your money on. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you do, because I do these types of videos like once a week, every 2 weeks, whenever there's new releases, which is all the time. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.